Well, hello and welcome to the final week of summer. All the technicalities aside, we're starting to work our way into fall. Weather First meteorologist Gary Frank with an update. And, it hasn't felt like fall, all things considered, but we're getting closer here. We talk about meteorological fall that's September 1st. It goes September, October, November. We're into that. And we've had a couple of fall mornings. But when we look at the autumnal equinox, that's the 23rd at 1:49 as our days continue to get shorter. And of course, that plays into the important role of how it's supposed to feel outside. Our temperature is supposed to feel cooler as we have less daylight. The lagging of the seasons, it's going to get cooler. We've seen some of those cool mornings and even cool days already, but there are some abnormalities. And as we start to see some of the leaves change, I want to talk about those specifics here. One thing that we look at is the departure from average temperatures. It's been either really cool for a couple of days in a row or really warm. And that's what we're going to see over the next few days, as temperatures are supposed to be in the upper 70s and low 80s for our average highs and around 60 degrees or in the upper 50s for our lows. But over the next few days, we're going to see temperatures that are above that, 5 to 10 degrees above that consistently all the way through this weekend. Why is that important? Well, you kind of add that to some of the stress from some of the drought. And, this is the 14th dry start we've had to the month of September. We've had just under a quarter of an inch of rain so far. It's been way less than impressive here. And so that's one thing that we'll look at. We combine that with the fact that it's been recently very dry. We got out of the drought for a while. Everything greened up in August, and then it dried up again. And just in time for us to see some of that drier fall air settle in, we've crept back into the drought. You have no doubt noticed that some of your leaves are already starting to turn, and that's one of the things that we look at when it comes to the drought stress. And, obviously our leaves are going to change anyway because of the position of the sun. But, the fall foliage stress here, as we look at, some of the stuff, you combine this with the soil moisture that we have, which is lacking, and the fact that we've had some of these warm areas, and you combine that with the soil moisture and temperature anomalies, and we've seen some of the trees start to change as a result. So that's one of the things that's looked at. As far as the fall foliage, not a lot, right? There are some low color, even as we zoom into our area specifically. There are a few areas that are maybe starting to change, and a lot of the areas in your backyard are probably starting to change as a result of that drought stress. And over the next week, you'll see that through September 21st, we're going to continue to see a better look at that. And I think that we're going to see a better look at the potential for some of that here for our fall foliage drought update here as it finally updates. You're going to see some of those areas start to turn a little bit more over the next few days. So that's what I would expect as we continue to monitor that. We'll bring you updates on the fall foliage, but just as an update, this warm air, these non-cool nights that we're going to see, temps in the 60s, I think that's really going to make things interesting when it comes to the foliage, which will update you on those changing conditions here throughout the rest of fall and bring you updates as needed.